Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about what I think is one of the easiest ways to figure out the chords that are being used in a song. Now there are a lot of ways to figure out how to play a song and which chords are being used and maybe which scales and that sort of thing, but I tend to go to this one because it uses a little bit of music theory and it goes with the numbers. In other words, we're looking at the chords that are used most often. Now many people might think, well, I'll just go online and find the chart for the song. Saves me lots of time and I don't have to sit around and figure out what's going on in the song. That's true in many cases, but obviously you have the possibility of the chart being incorrect, but you also have the possibility of the charts not even existing, and that happened to me recently as I was asked to play a few songs and I looked very quickly to see if there were any charts to kind of point me in the right direction. Nothing available, so I had to figure it out on my own. So first let's do a little bit of music theory, or as I call it, guitar theory, because I'm going to show you how it immediately applies to the guitar neck, and we're going to use the guitar neck to show us what those chords are in the song you're trying to figure out. So number one, you're going to need to know a major scale, and let's just use this 3-note per string major scale. I'm going to start it on the A, and this is the one I typically use. So there's no reason that we need to use all of those notes. I just wanted to demonstrate the scale. Let's use the first 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then our octaves right here. We won't need that one either. The main notes we want to look at are the first 7 because on each of those 7 notes, a chord is harmonized or built. So in this video, we don't really need to dive into how these chords are harmonized, but I do need to show you which chord belongs on which note. And here's what I mean by that. On the 1 chord, we always have a major chord. So in the key of A major, it would be an A major chord. On the 2 chord, the second note in your major scale, is always a minor chord. So in this case, it would be B minor. But I'm not even thinking so much about the letter names just yet. I'm thinking about major and then minor on chord number 2. Now we go to the 3rd note in the scale, and it's also a minor. So in this case it would be known as C sharp minor. Then we go to number 4 in the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that chord is always major. So we're talking in major keys here, not minor keys or anything. In a major key, the 4 chord is always major. Then we go to the 5th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one is always major as well. In this case, it's E major. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the 6th note, we get a minor chord. And then on the 7th note, we get what's known as a diminished chord. And then we end up back at our octave, which is going to be the same as your 1 note, which is major. So let's quickly go over all of those chords that are in every major key. So beginning on the 1, we get a major. On the 2, we get a minor. On the 3, we get a minor. On the 4th note, we get a major. On the 5th note, we get a major. On the 6th one, we get a minor. And then on the 7th, we get a diminished. And then we're back to our octave. So what we're most concerned with in this video is the first 6 notes. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. I'm not going to worry about the diminished because so few songs used a diminished chord. Let's just go with the numbers. Most likely, if you're trying to figure out a song, 98% of the time it's not going to have a diminished chord in there. It's going to have either majors or minors. So we're just going with strictly the majority rules in this video to figure out things quickly. So if you understand that every major key has this system of major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, based off of the major scale, then you quickly know what chords are probably being used in that particular key. But you may ask, well, how do we figure out the key? Because you're going to have to do that first. Think about the root notes that you keep hearing. Maybe you hear something like if you hear those low notes like that, play along with one of those chords And you may have to move around until you get it, and you're like, okay, I hear a root note there. And then if you can find a couple of other root notes, that's great too. But just go with that one for now and see if it matches the A major chord, for example. We're doing everything in A, so that's why I'm referring to that one. If you are goofing around and you hear the F is being played a lot, then start with that one. Again, we're going with the odds here. Once you've established that you're in the key of A major, then you know that, oh, well, my 1 is major, my 4 is major, and my 5 is major. So let me see if there's a D in there somewhere. And I'm not saying you have to play this voicing of the D. It could be this D, right? And then my 5 chord is E. So it may not be that voicing, it may be this one. But at least I know what the 1, the 4, and the 5 are in my key that I believe I'm in. And if you match up the A and the D, for example, then you pretty much know that you're probably dealing with the key of A major, because even if you don't hear an E major in there for your 5 chord right away, you know you're dealing with 2 major chords, and there are only 3 major chords in every major key, so you've got 2 out of the 3, so most likely you're in the key of A major, especially if you're hearing a lot of A's. Now once I've established I'm in the key of A major, I know that, okay, I've got my A, my D, and my E potentially in there. So what are my minor chords? B minor, and then 1, 2, 3, C sharp minor, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is minor, F sharp minor. So this actually happened to me today. I was just on the fly in a class figuring out an Adele song, and it started on A. So I figured out, okay, it's in A. So I know my 4 chord is D, my 5 is E, and then it had another chord in there. It's a 4 chord progression that it started with. So I just started goofing around with A, E, and D, because going with the numbers again, people tend to use those major chords the most. So try those first. And it turned out the second chord was E major. Okay, I didn't really have to struggle very hard to figure that out because I knew my 1, 4, and 5s are going to probably be in there. Now the third chord, I had to listen to the root note, and I heard this F sharp note in there. So I put a minor on there because that's the 6th chord in the key of A. And it worked. And then the 4th chord that was used was the D. So it goes A, E major, F sharp, minor, and then D major, and then back to A. And it just kept cycling through those 4 chords. Not all songs are going to be that easy to figure out, but again, if you think about going with what is most often used, it tends to be the 1, the 4, and the 5 if you're in a major key. And then they'll throw in maybe a 2 chord, maybe a 6 chord, so a couple of minor chords to throw in some flavor there. You go with those odds, and most likely you're going to figure out the song. If something appears in a song and it clearly sounds out of key, you'll know it. So if we're playing, let's take the A major again. A major, E major, and then you hear something like this. Okay, that's a clear key change, and that will throw you. But the odds of that happening in most songs is very slim. When I am figuring out a song, I'm always visualizing this right here. The first 6 notes in that major scale so that I know what I'm dealing with. That way I can figure out something that's also in a key that's maybe got a bunch of flats. What if I'm in A flat? And I hear that, that's the root of the key. Well, I can still do the 1, 4, 5 and try it out. And that tends to work. I don't have to think about too much music theory. I'm just thinking about that major scale and then my major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. And that's the bulk of the chords that will probably be used. So that is a quick method to figuring out songs where you don't have a chart and you just got to dive in and figure out the chords that are being used. Again, you will have to know a major scale, or in this case, at least the first 6 notes of it. And you'll have to memorize major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. And if you know those 2 things, then you're quickly able to figure out the key that it's in and figure out the chords that are being used. Now there's a lot of ways to figure out songs out there. This is just one method of looking at it, and you will have to know your major scale and then those chords that are harmonized off the major scale. But for me, it makes short work of it, and I'm able to figure out things much quicker. So I hope that sort of applied guitar theory makes sense to you. If you have any questions about it at all, please let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to clarify. And if you enjoyed that content, please make sure to hit the like button. It really does help my channel, and subscribe if you will. A great free way you can support my channel is if you're already buying strings or guitars or amps or pro audio or whatever it might be that is musical. Go through my affiliate links down below for Sweetwater. It helps support my channel in a small way, but doesn't cost you anything extra. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see in the future. I'll see you all next time.